going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be interviewing a client of ours, a past client named Darrell Spencer. He's the owner of King's Crowning. Darrell actually started working with us when he was doing a little under $2,000 a month. We were able to scale him to doing over $100,000 in 1 month. And there's this one word inside of this video, this one word which is super important. If I can tell you guys one thing, this one word: execution. Nothing else matters. You can have the right systems, the right processes, the right offers, everything. You can have all these amazing stuff, but if you do not execute, nothing else matters. Nothing. And that's one thing that made Darrell different than anybody else that I've worked with, is simply because he executes on what he knows. You're gonna learn in this interview, you're gonna actually hear from him himself, go over all these things that he actually had to execute on to get the result that he wanted to get. If you've been watching my content for a while, you should be getting results. I get DMs all the time from people saying they're getting good results. They feel better, they're closing more deals, their business is growing just simply off of these YouTube videos. But if you really want to take your business to the next level and you feel like now is not the right time and you've been watching us for a while, simply click the link below. There's a link to actually schedule a time between me and also my team. It's not gonna be a sales call, it's just gonna be a friendly discussion, just going over where your business is at today and showing you exactly on how we can bridge that gap if we can truly scale your business. So really looking forward to you guys checking out this interview. Darrell's a beast. You are a beast too as well. I feel amazing. I hope you've had a great day so far, and I'm looking forward to you guys just checking out this content. Have a great day. Some cool people. What's going on, Darrell?
Hey, what's up, man? What's up? How's it going?
It's going good, man. Got some people joining the room here. Where you at right now?
Chicago,
The home base. Yeah. I don't know if I told you that I'm actually from Illinois, not Chicago, but I am from Illinois.
Oh, where? I never do that.
Yeah.
What part?
Naperville. Yeah. Naperville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's not far at all.
Yeah. I left when I was 10. Then I moved to Atlanta, was in Atlanta up until like the last year, and then just been down here in Tampa. But Darrell, I mean, we can just really, maybe I'll just give it like another 3 or 4 minutes for maybe some more people to opt in, join into the room. But where's everybody at right now? I know I'm here in Tampa, Darrell's in Chicago. If you guys want to just drop maybe what city that you guys are currently in, we'll let it know where everybody's dialing in from. And I don't believe me and Saul have ever connected from, me and Saul have connected before. I'm not really familiar with Saul, but Hassan, you're in Tampa. What's going on, Hassan? Cool. Nashville. That's what's up. Nashville has some really good bars. Saul's all the way out in Italy. That's what's up, man. What time is it in Italy right now?
7 p.m., bro.
Oh, 7 p.m. Okay, it's not too far off. 6-hour difference. Yeah, my girlfriend, she's from Italy. She came over here when she was like 13 or 14. So been trying to get out to Italy. When's the best time to come out that way?
I think in spring, bro.
Spring? All right, I'll wait. I'll stay patient. Yeah, man. I'm trying to, this World War III stuff, man. Like this whole Ukraine thing, like it's crazy. It's crazy times, man.
It's insane, bro.
Yeah, people are just making like memes about it, and like they don't really realize how serious it is. I'm like, I got no idea. But yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and dive in, right? Pull up some of these questions I got. So Darrell, if you want to really just tell the audience kind of, who you are, let's just start off like, who's Darrell? Like, how did you even come up with this brand? What is the brand? I'm really all ears.
Yeah, so my name is Darrell Spencer. I came up with the brand King's Crowning. And I guess I can kind of like rewind and start over, right? So I feel like I've kind of hopped through corporate America through different jobs, kind of figure out, like where I wanted to land and where I wanted to stay. So I ended up landing at Facebook, working in their global marketing department. So I work with like many brands on like their overall digital marketing strategy. So I kind of like learned how to kind of like build brands through working with brands on Facebook. So then, I kind of figured out like I want to create this thing for myself, right? I've been able to really help so many other brands scale, right, on Facebook, Instagram. So I'm like, I can do this for my own brand. At the time, I actually had curls, right? I had like long curls, long curly hair. And I was tired of like waking up in the morning, like having a lot of maintenance to do with it. So then I'm like, okay, there has to be some kind of like male version of a bonnet, right? So like if you do have curls, if you have like longer hair, when you wake up, it's less of a process. So
Mm,
I went all across the web to find like any kind of product similar to a bonnet for men, right? Just to kind of like cut my morning process in half at least.
yeah.
I couldn't find anything. So I'm like, you know what? I'm sure I'm not the only person struggling with this, right? And wanting to like have a product like this for men. So then I created it, and that's kind of how King's Crowning came to be, right? I went ahead, I created the brand, created the business. Then I kind of sourced the product and manufactured the product in China. So I created like satin line caps for men. So they're kind of like modern and functional, right? So like they kind of serve they serve the purpose of a bonnet, but it looks completely different than a bonnet. It's like it's modern, it's functional. You can wear it outside to the gym, at night, whenever you want to, right? So then, honestly, rolled it out and it kind of went crazy.
Oh yeah.
Clearly, there's a need in the market for a product like that. Then it kind of just went up from there. And then, we're here.
100%, 100%. I appreciate you breaking that all down. And one thing that kind of stood out to me was like you created something that solved the problem that you had, right? A lot of entrepreneurs, they do this as like some of the most successful offers that I've seen in the market is just come across a problem and just realizing there's no solution for it. And then you actually going out and taking massive action to solve that problem. How long did it take you to really go from just having this idea to it actually being something that you could sell?
Yeah. I'd say truthfully about a good 3 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I kind of went through different like products and different stages of it, right? So I had an idea of what I wanted it to look like. So then I kind of like went and got like different samples, right? So like my very first sample looked completely different than what the crowns look now. I just kind of went through like the R&D process, right? Trying to figure out like what looks the
Yeah.
best, what style, what functions would fit men the best. So it took a while like from ideation to actual having the actual product. Then after that, within about 3 months, we just finding the actual product. It kind of went up from there. So about 3 months.
About 3 months. Okay,
So
that's
I wanted to make sure that like the product that I rolled out would be purposeful and useful for everyone, right? Besides just me. So I went through surveys as well. Um, Let friends try it out. Then that's when I rolled it out.
got it, got it. And that's massive action. Over 3 months for you just to go from idea to actually having something in 3 months, that's massive action. And just for some context, if you want to just tell people, maybe the way that you came across us or how we met, would really love for you to just tell, the audience, because I do have people inside of my sales academy that are on this call as well. And they do plan on getting into high ticket sales themselves. So would love for them to, kind of just understand of where we met and how that conversation went, because there's a lot of people that do have marketing services out there. Want to know, let's just break it down. Like, how did we meet? How did you come across us?
Yeah. So I mean, I initially met you and the team just through like advertising, right? Through paid media. I was just honestly, I had the idea in my head, right? This was post the idea. So I was actually already running my own ads for my personal business. And the business, it was doing decent, right? But I knew that we could do so much better. So I wanted to kind of put the business in the hands of like people who would actually like help generate strong sales and create a viable business, right? A 6-figure and a 7-figure business. So that's when I came across the ads of Anthony and the team, and I reached out and I was like, "Hey guys, first of all, one, I love that it's a black team, right? That's first off, that it's a black team. I want to keep the dollars within us as well, right? So I saw that. Then I saw, just kind of the numbers in their case studies. So then I reached out. We got an initial outreach. And we kind of went up from there, right? We started the process and started working with each other, but initially from paid media, like, right? So they had really, really strong, just like a call to action. They had extremely strong case studies, and it was meaningful.
Yes, 100%. And if anybody ever does plan on getting into high ticket sales on this call or knows about it as well, the biggest thing is really that internal marketing. You don't want to get staffed with anybody that doesn't have good internal marketing. A lot of the heavy lifting should be through those marketing efforts, testimonials, so that by the time that your prospect or someone like Darrell does get on the phone with you, they should already know, a little bit more details about you and your business. But yeah, I'm really glad that we connected. I remember our initial conversation. You weren't the easiest person to close, man. You weren't going for it. You weren't going for it.
I have a
So
lot of questions. I had to make sure, I knew what I was doing, who I was signing up for. But truthfully, so speaking, like Anthony sold it, answered every question, and honestly made me feel like I was in the best hands possible. And to this day, like it's more like a family with Anthony.
Yeah,
So
100%. 100%. And Darrell, I don't think we've ever had this conversation. But so Darrell, when did you start working with us? How much were you doing a month? And when did you stop working with us? How much were you doing a month?
yeah. So when I first started working with you guys, I was in about like around $1,000 a month.
Hmm.
And
Or
then
maybe what's your best month? And then when did you stop as well? Yeah.
So when I first started without working with you, I did about $1,000 a month. And that was just kind of with my own like Facebook marketing strategies that I kind of picked up from just working at Meta at Facebook. And then when I by the time I stopped, we were at well over a six-figure run rate a month. So we're doing over 100K a month in sales and revenue, working with them. And then we ended up ending last year at seven figures in a year. So we did a million plus in sales in under a year, actually.
100%. That's powerful. And I didn't tell you this before, Darrell, but I remember when we stopped working together, you thought that you were one of our smaller clients, but you were really one of our larger clients at the time. And I was reading this book, and it really, this one page really stuck out to me. It was just saying, let your clients outgrow you. I just feel like we kind of held on to you for a little too long. You definitely outgrew us as a business. And it was the same thing. We were working with this other business called, what are they called? Ooh, the Skin Deep. I don't know if you're familiar with them
Oh,
or if
yeah.
anyone is. They're an Emmy award winning business. They have like a little bit over a million followers or subscribers on YouTube. But just knowing when that your clients actually outgrow you was one of the biggest pain points for our agency, because we would have people like Darrell where we took them from doing like $1,000 or $2,000 a month all the way up to doing $100,000+ a month. But that's not really, I would say, our bread and butter, because our agency, our business started to really be centered around those larger clients that we had. It wasn't that many. It was probably just about 4 or 5 clients that was doing around the numbers that you were doing. But really, our bread and butter is really meeting those people at that 2K mark. And then once you do hit 100,000, we really need to let you go to another team member or something, because we've never really scaled up to doing $1 million a month or anything crazy like that. So I feel like that was one of the biggest learning lessons, and something that kind of just got a little blurry when we did stop working together. But I'm so glad that we did have that experience from 2K to 100K a month.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I was going through this with my team today, just like a quote. It was just saying how like most leaders would agree that they'd be better off having an average strategy with a superb execution than a superb strategy with poor execution. And Darrell, you're just a straight executor. I don't think that you had like the craziest strategy, any like crazy growth strategy, but what you were able to do over those 3 months was just extreme execution, which is better than any strategy as a whole. So shout out to you. But how did you feel like when you first hit your first actually what has been the biggest moving factor for you hitting your first 100K month?
One of the biggest what?
Moving factors, like what was the biggest thing that you did to help you hit that 100K month?
Yeah. Truth be told, so when you're working with numbers like that, one thing that you'll face is like ad fatigue and like content fatigue. So like when you're spitting out so many impressions on like Facebook through your advertising, you have to be able to spit out just as much content. So I think that one of the biggest learning lessons, and like one of the things that kind of pushed that growth too, was like just strong content, right? That to have my team work with, right? And then I think, with that in mind, also I work with Anthony as well, right? Because we realize we need 10 times more content than we actually currently have. Now that we're doing 100K a month, like our ads are being fatigued so quickly. So we need to pump out more and more content. So, I just think when you do grow like that fast and that quickly, like operationally, you have to adapt to that also, right?
Yeah.
In the background, which was ads, content. So then we work together to absolutely create additional content at a much quicker pace to continue the growth.
100%. And 60% of the customer's journey relies on the ad creative itself. And there's over 3 billion pieces of content generated every single day. So how are you going to stand out whether if it's for your offer, for you trying to, anything, how are you going to stand out with all these content pieces being generated? And that whole leaning on our team for the creative, it just, like I said, we were just trying to grow with you. And we even opened it up a content studio. I remember when that whole shebang happened with the content studio, and just continue to try to grow with you. But yeah, creatives are just super important. So how did it feel? Like when you finally hit 100K a month, how did it feel? It's just like, oh, I did it. Now what's next? Or kind of what were you feeling during that time?
Yeah, honestly, it felt great. It felt good. So I gave myself a bit of time to kind of sit in it, right, and realize I'm actually hitting six figures in 1 month
Yeah.
in revenue, right? But then, like next, I'm like, oh shit. So like I'm actually getting close to 1 million a year. So now it's like, how do I kind of like change and switch up strategies to like ensure that now I'm moving as if I'm a seven-figure business and a seven-figure brand. So now, you have to kind of like reframe and retrain your own personal mindset now. So now at this point, like it's a mindset shift. So like you're not really a six-figure brand or a five-figure brand now. Now it's a seven-figure mindset. But then post that, right, you also want to have an eight-figure mindset on top of that too. So I think I had to kind of change my mindset and shift that perspective to kind of like start actually moving, functioning, and like working as if like we're moving beyond just a small business.
Yeah, yeah. And I love how you did take that time to really just like be in the moment, acknowledge what you did do, because like we had one of our craziest months as a business back in November. And I was just so much like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? I didn't really soak in the feeling of the accomplishment. And I feel like that's what kind of threw us off. So instead of me setting like these like, I mean, we have revenue goals as well, but this past month, I didn't really stick to a revenue goal. I just stick to like the habits that will actually have us hit those revenue goals.
Yeah.
And February was one of our best months yet as a business. But I had another question for you. Let me see here. Oh yeah, you actually came to our Atlanta event. What did you think about the event? Be honest, man. It was one of our very first events. We had some amazing guest speakers come out. We had like Trishana, she's a pretty well-known entrepreneur. We had Sierra, Fortune. What did you think of that event when you came out to Atlanta? I do appreciate you coming out too as well.
Yeah, no, honestly, it was a bunch of powerhouses in like one room,
Oh yeah.
I think it was such an empowering event, right? To just listen, learn, right? And just see like people like actually doing the thing, right? And like people that you aspire to be, right? Because also, beyond just owning a business and a brand, I also want to be an actual brand personally, right? And do some of the things as Anthony and the team and you guys as well. But like seeing others, actually doing it and thriving in it, right? Like, being like business coaches in whatever their niche is, like being product experts, business experts, like seeing their strategy, hearing them out, and having all those people in one room to really get like free game and just gems. Honestly, it was impactful. I've learned a ton about just like opening other businesses. Because truth be told, also leaving the event with Anthony, that was how I ended up starting Turo as well, and starting my other side business, Turo. So I own cars on Turo as well with my partner, right? So now we own Turo. We own fleets of cars in Chicago with Turo. And honestly, it was an idea, right? I knew the value in Turo. I just didn't really know how to do it, right? So then like going to that event, it gave me the game to like understand, all right, this is actually how you do it. So then I got to Chicago and we actually implemented it, right? We got cars on Turo now. That's our side business now to make good money doing it. So I left it with actual tangible results, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, 100%, man. So like I just have this common denominator right now with you. It's just execution. I feel like that's what just makes you different than anybody else. Really just take massive action and you execute on what you learn, because there was a lot of people that came to the event. We showed everybody the exact blueprint on how to go get a bunch of cars on Turo, how to get into Airbnb, how to fix up your credit, how to do all these amazing things. But the only difference with you is you just take action. There's a lot of blueprints out there and you just take massive action. So like I said, Darrell, shout out to you. I will open the floor up for any questions. The whole point of this live, I was just kind of like, yo, Darrell, let's just hop on an interview. Let's just chop it up real quick, provide value around whatever we can. And This is not a pitch, guys. There's nothing really to buy. I wish there was something for someone to make a purchase, but guys, really just chopping it up and giving value for you guys. So if you guys want to ask any questions, I'm all ears.
Hey, Darrell, definitely congratulations on everything, all the success, everything like that. I just recently joined this program. I think it's been a few weeks. And I'm super excited for, everything in store. I do Airbnb. But my biggest question to you is like, what was the hardest thing for you to overcome, like when you first started?
The hardest, honest truth be told, delegation. I think as an entrepreneur, I think in any business that you go into, you really want to have your hands in everything, right? And now I think it's super important when you start out to really have your hands in every piece of the pie, right? Customer service, in every aspect, so you can really get it, learn it, and excel in it, then pass it off. So I think the hardest part for me was to really remove myself, so I can actually continue working on scaling, right? Because if you're still doing every single thing in your business, it's impossible to scale, right? So I think that when you truly learn each part of the business, and then you learn it, so you can pass it on to somebody else to delegate those skill sets. And so you can have your hands in other areas to scale. I think that will differentiate you. And I think that'll shoot your success. That'll shoot it up, right? So I think the hardest part was learning to delegate and let my hands just move them out of the pot, right? And when I did that, scaling began to happen because I could focus on now high level strategy, right? I can think the next seasons. So I can think everything product rather than customer service or inventory product, right? So I think just delegation, man.
100%. Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that with me. And Landon is a beast when it comes down to Airbnb. I appreciate you even hopping on, Landon. I know you're very busy.
We got to chop it up too, Landon. Airbnb, that's something that I want to get into too.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, he's the guy to go to. Yeah, delegation, even when it doesn't even just come down to directly business, I started delegating food, getting meal preps. I post so much about how I got meal preps because it was the biggest win for me this past February. I feel like that helped a lot with me just scaling up my business, just getting meal preps, because I have a certain mental capacity when it comes down to making decisions where if I have to think every single day, what am I going to eat? Where am I going to go get eat? I got to go cook the food, all this stuff, versus I can just go inside my fridge. I don't have to think a whole lot, just pop it in the oven and just eat. It saves me time. And it really just keeps me disciplined too, because now I'm thinking, I don't even want to go out to eat with these people because I already got food in the fridge. So
yeah, Anthony, just side to that too, delegation too. I mean, I think that a lot of people, they undervalue how crucial and how simple and easy it is to just have overseas VAs and how cheap it is as well. Just to remove yourself from a lot of your admin work that you do with your business, right? You can delegate that as well to a VA that's maybe in the Philippines, who would charge you $5 an hour, and you can have them do just 1 hour of work a day. And it's super cheap and it costs nothing, right? Just to charge them $5 an hour to handle all your customer service, your admin work, knock it out. And at that point, you have additional time back, right? So what's the cost of you doing that admin work, right? So that's a cost in itself, right? Now, if you can remove that cost from yourself and put it onto an actual VA, that removes time from that portion of, your work life, right? To put that into other aspects of your business.
Yes, 100%. I have so many systems and processes, hires in place that people don't even know that I have hires there. Even when it comes down to social media, when people message me on Instagram, it's not me responding. When someone books an appointment and puts a calendar, it's not me giving the calendar anything. Just every second literally counts. So I can get on calls like this, provide value. And I really just want to be, shooting content and providing high level strategy to my clients. So I'm a very big fan of delegation and knowing the right time to delegate, right? When it comes down to sales, for example, I always go back to sales. I know some entrepreneurs, they delegate their sales calls when they're not even getting leads or know their sales process yet. It's the same thing for any industry. You want to make sure the systems and the processes are set and down and pat before you do delegate, because you can't delegate something over that's not, a set system or process. And if you do plan on making any SOPs, a standard operating procedure, I recommend just using Lucidchart. It's perfect for SOPs. And I'll even show you. I used to own an influencer marketing agency. This is how I actually first linked up with my previous agency. They bought out like my whole entire system for getting creators, influencers, and everything. And I'll show you my exact SOP that I created. This literally allowed me to remove myself as much as possible from, doing all these ship outs to creators and everything. Everything is just like down packed for it. Even if anything fails, they can ship it out. Just having an SOP in place really just changes your whole entire business, and having everything documented. Or just using looms. Like, just say you do something, just put it on a loom video and just shoot it over. But yeah, Lenny, you had a great question though. Something like that.
So I have another question. I'm just like you. When I first started, I was asking them a lot of questions. So now that I'm hearing you talk, it's a lot of things I'm thinking about. So do you like leverage anything on like social media? Like, I haven't been to your Instagram page. You probably do it, but do you leverage like social media a lot to promote, or is it just straight up just running ads?
Yeah. So I do everything, right? So I do my personal Instagram. I began to kind of like readjust my bio to kind of like become a brand, right? So like 7-figure business owner, coach, right? So I'm trying to rebrand and remarket Darrell, right? But aside from that, like, I have an organic strategy, but also a paid strategy as well, right? So then we post on TikTok, Instagram. I think like TikTok is insane right now, right? So I think that you have to really understand TikTok and figure out, also, I think it's merit in like organically scaling with TikTok too, but also paid is insane as well. So I think that it can be a great marriage between paid and organic strategies. So at TikTok, right, like, new trending sounds, literally you find a trending sound, put like a dope video in the background of it. Then literally, because of that trending sound, your video will be seen by thousands of people on TikTok. Then literally, like, you're in front of the face of many that probably would have never seen your brand before, right? Mm-hmm. So then, so we have that organic strategy, like Instagram Reels as well. The same thing, right? It's a strategy behind Instagram Reels to actually get in front of many people rather than just your current audience. So like, I use these strategies organically to really like scale, but then on top of that, paid strategy too as well, right? So we have we pay for a strategy on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and then on top of that, we do organic as well. So, yep.
So, are you saying you're paying to learn how to do these things?
Yeah. So basically, in terms of like delegation, right? So I was doing it at first. I wanted to scale, so then I outsourced it to Anthony, and then we discussed it. We outgrew. And then I brought it to a different agency, and I'll have the other agency scaling it even more now at this point. So, yep, I have digital marketing in the hands of another marketing agency that handles all my ads. And then after that, I handle personal organic strategy, right? So they handle paid, and I personally do the organic strategy. So TikTok, Instagram Reels, all of those things.
Now, do you delegate anything like for instance, if you're doing organic stuff on TikTok or Instagram or wherever, when you get a lead that comes in, are you handling that lead, or is that delegated as well?
Yeah, Darrell owns a clothing brand. I'm not a clothing brand, just a satin line cap. So there's no leads. Yeah.
So it's just straight purchases. Okay.
Yeah, it's just straight purchases that Darrell has. Yep.
All right, cool.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on, Neil?
I was off camera for a minute eating lunch there, but no, it's been cool to hear the story, Darrell. I got a clothing brand as well, and he's kind of been building the brand for like the last year or so. Anthony, we actually talked, I think, a couple months back, and I'm about to start throwing a couple $1,000s a month, at marketing it myself. Been kind of learning the Facebook ad game. I think one of the biggest things for me is like what you said about all of a sudden needing content and creative. I was like, oh shit, like I got to figure out how to do this, either pay someone to do it, or like I bought a camera and I was like, all right. So I took like 9 months to figure out how to use the camera, so I think just one thing for people on the call, like, if you're interested in investing in the creative skill, like that'll go forever. And like, you get to control the narrative of what your brand is, like in your vision, if you have that creative spark. But one question I did have just in terms of scaling, right? Like if you're just starting out running ads, I mean, I think it's an amazing place to start with Facebook ads just because of how granular you can get in testing creatives and copy and all that. But like, do you think it's too much as a solopreneur to try to test into Google, Snap, and TikTok? Like, do you think if you're going to go that omnipresent wide, you really need an agency, or do you think like a single person can do that effectively?
Yeah, I think a single person can do it effectively. It's just more about like time, right? Like, what's the opportunity cost? Is this something that is like your number one priority? Are you looking to truly scale your brand? Because it's only going to help when you actually know what KPIs to look at. And when you are delegating over to an agency, I'm not really bullish on delegating too much over to an agency that is large, just because you can't really touch anything yourself, right? You don't really communicate with the person that's, running your advertisement. So send it over to someone and do half work and everything. So I recommend in the beginning phases, do as much as you can yourself. And if you don't have the time and you just don't want to really like dial in on paid ads yourself, and delegate it over. But agencies will give you more and more attention as your brand is growing, right? Because they do have larger clients and stuff. So you can always give your brand the most attention in the beginning.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What would you say? I mean, there's all these platforms coming out, like helping with attribution and reporting and things, right? Well, iOS 14, there's cross channel analytics. Like I've started to look at a couple platforms like Magic CX and like I've heard of like Triple Whale. Just kind of like curious what leading analytics softwares you've seen out there for not only like proper attribution and retargeting, but also like consolidation across multiple platforms.
Yeah, we were using Hyros a lot. We use Hyros.
Yeah,
Too.
and currently we use Triple Well New, and then that integrates all platforms across, right? And we got into the beta program of it as well, and it's been working wonders, right? I think it picks up on a lot of like loss attribution, loss conversions, but it also encompasses everything: Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Google. So I personally like Triple Well.
Were you able to optimize, like make adjustments on your ads from directly within Triple Whale, or does it only give you the insights to then go back into the platforms and make adjustments there?
It just gives you the insights.
Okay.
All those insights. Yeah, some good questions.
And then Hyros is really more so just attribution.
With all the tracking, same thing.
I did have just kind of like a random question you might know. I could not find this online, but like when you're in Instagram and you hit like swipe up, you never leave the Instagram browser. Right?
Yeah.
Like, so technically because you're in that browser, but you're on an iPhone, does the attribution thing even matter? Because you never went to Safari.
When you're following an ad, so a linked ad to a site.
Yep. Yeah. Because like, think about it. I'm on Instagram all the time and I swipe up on an ad and I look around their whole website and then I finally decide to leave. I got to X out of Instagram. It's in like an Instagram browser.
Oh no, it still tracks. Yeah, it still tracks.
You still put a URL in through the advertising on the back end.
Yeah, I think that's how the ads would be created. I'm talking about through like the consumer lens.
Yeah. So like, for example, if he's watching a story and he just swipes up on the story, but it's still inside of Instagram, but he just hasn't really truly left the app. Yeah, you're still tracked. Yeah, cool. And then I know we briefly touched on like TikTok as well, and just how much of a blue ocean and such a great opportunity it is. I just wanted to show you guys, we took this client, they had 0 on TikTok and they had a whole bunch of YouTube content though. Like they have over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, but they weren't really utilizing TikTok much. And it's been a complete game changer for their business. Like even over like the last 28 days, they got an extra 13.8 million people watching their brand. Last 7 days, 1.8 million. And I know there's been questions about like traffic sources, like where should you even go for your traffic sources? I believe traffic is just such a testing, right? Everything is testing. So if your brand, for example, you're running Facebook ads and you tried everything, you looked at all your KPIs, it's just not working. You tested multiple creatives, different angles, then I would just move over to another platform. But you're never going to know unless you truly test and try across every single platform. And once you find the one that works best for you, I would recommend as a solo entrepreneur just to focus on that one platform that works the best for you so you don't spread yourself too thin in the beginning, whether if it's Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, Google, Snapchat, YouTube. But I'd love to just know your thoughts too as well. It looks like Neil, looks like you're thinking on that one too. I'd love to know your thoughts on that too as well.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about that. Like, as I'm literally about to launch my ads like next week. I've been sitting here building fucking workflow charts and everything. But yeah, as I think about the platforms, like you have different personas and like ways of engaging, you know, like, you know, of course it's easy to think about like the difference between Facebook and TikTok, right? Generationally, just super different, but like also the format in like which you're used to consuming or actually going to click on that ad is going to be completely different. Like my winning ad on Facebook might suck on TikTok and vice versa, right?
So Neil, hearing that question, because it reminds me of currently how my ads run, right? So I run across TikTok, Google, Facebook, and Instagram, right? Now for TikTok specifically, we kind of evaluate like where on the funnel does each channel like where do they sit? So TikTok is more of a top of funnel play, right? So we're not really seeing like tons and tons of conversions. However, we have seen a lift in our overall like digital ecosystem of like overall revenue and conversions. Right. So then now we're seeing that TikTok actually plays a part of our top of funnel, right? So we're just measuring CPMs for TikTok, and it's getting impressions, right? So we're seeing that honestly, like TikTok, they're driving conversions, but at the top of the funnel, right? So like they're getting people to actually know and see what King's Crowning is. And then our other channels like retarget them to get the conversions. So I think all channels, a lot of times they play with each other, but I think it's a lot of Mary what Anthony said when you do first start off with, right? Just not spreading yourself too thin. But to your question as well, understanding like just how each channel plays out is very important, because knowing that with TikTok, I get that although I don't see conversions in my analytics, what I do see is the impressions. And I do see an overall lift in the overall digital ecosystem. So I know that it stems from TikTok, right? So it just plays, it's like the inspiration piece. It inspires people about the brand. And then like Facebook and IG, they retarget to convert from TikTok.
What about, and you said, so your brand is a hat brand?
Yeah, so it honestly, it initially started as a hat brand. So basically it was like satin line caps, right? So if you have like, you know, curl your hair, you have waves or curls, right? To protect your hair, we put satin in these caps. But then, you know, like men started asking like, all right, you know what? We want like satin line baseball hats. Then we kind of like wrote out like just like real cool satin line baseball hats. Then we brought out a hair care line. So I think the overall goal of this brand now kind of shifted and changed to be like an overall like health and beauty brand for men. So it was initially a hat line, but now we're trying to like repurpose and rebrand to an overall health and beauty line for men.
Okay. So that's kind of cool though, because it's a fashion product, but yet it sounds like it actually solves a problem that you're able to test those different angles with.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So that's one of the biggest things I'm struggling with, and I just got to test it, is like I don't really solve a problem per se. It's just I just try to make cool clothes.
Yeah, man. But also what I would say when it comes to that is like the creative too. You know, a lot of times like it really isn't the product, it's the creative. It's kind of like how you drive inspiration through your products, right? So I've seen like some dope brands. I've seen like underwear brands, right? Or it's like it's just like basic underwear, but like the creative behind it really inspires you to purchase it. So like don't lose the fact that like it may not solve a problem. Like if you have strong creative, right, and you can kind of like inspire people and show them like why they need your brand, that's the bridge that you kind of need to like, that's a gap that you need to bridge, right? Is to allow people to kind of see themselves in your product rather than always like fixing a problem. So I think a lot of times like the strongest businesses absolutely come from fixing a problem, but also we see tons of businesses that like real shit. They're really, it's not much to it, right? To their products, to the brand, right? It's just they're compelling. You know, their story is compelling or the creative is compelling. So
Same. How'd you come up with the name King's Crowning, by the way? And how long did it take you to come up with that name? I just know that sometimes people, they ask me like, what should I name my brand? And they get stuck so much in the name of their brand. I just tell them, hey, Google had no name, YouTube had no name until someone just called it YouTube and Google. So how'd you come up with the name of King's Crowning, if you don't mind me asking?
yeah. So basically, I know, like, especially in like the hair department, right? It's very gendered. And also men are that typically they shy away from like grooming, you know, like it's kind of hush hush. It's really a market that's really not like as touched. So I wanted to kind of like reframe the way we thought about like hair care, right? So like I wanted to like make it feel kind of like royal and prestige, right? So king, right? It's like men want to be kings, we are kings, right? So I called it kings, and like the caps that I created are they're called crowns, right? So I just called it king's crowning, right? So you're crowning yourself, you're a king. Then the purpose of which is to essentially kind of like reframe how we consider and how we think about like protecting our hair, right? So kind of like reframe and recenter and readjust our framework around hair care. And then it went well, but then now I'm kind of running into the issue where now women are loving the products too. So now they're like, it's not inclusive. So I'm like, the product was initially made for men, right? Because I think women have a lot of these, they have a lot of products for them, right? But it was made for men. But now I'm seeing that women love it too. So one thing that I did do initially, I had our logo, it was King's Crowning. Then it was like a man with the crown. So it's like one change that I added was I just changed the logo, made it more sleek and like more modern, just like King's Crowning with the KC. So rather than man on it, it was just wording, right? So then that kind of like added and aided to like the inclusivity piece of it rather than completely changing the name.
100%. Appreciate you sharing that with me. Appreciate you sharing that. But yeah, is there any other questions before we wrap up today, guys? Would love to answer anything else. If not, feel free to reach out to me, reach out to Darrell. I'm more than happy to provide value around anything and just connect with everyone on the call. Is there any last questions before we wrap up? And Darrell, where can they find you? Where can they find you on Instagram? Where can they find you, the brand and everything as well?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at DF_Spencer. That's my personal Instagram. And then for the business Instagram, it's Kings_Crowning. And Anthony just drop it in the chat.
Cool. Yeah,
Yep.
it's all stick.
Follow me, reach out to me with any questions, man. I'm here as a resource. Anthony is amazing. I can't speak to it anymore, man. That's my guy.
I appreciate it, man. Well, yeah, I appreciate everyone hopping on, and let's just all stay connected. I hope everyone has a great day. All right, guys.
You guys.
See you.